Welcome to Fast Instant Karma. We're back with the series when people messed with the wrong cops. Today you'll see what happens to people who push a cop's patience too far. Don't be fooled by the calm look, because when these cops step in, all that tough attitude means nothing. The show is about to start. Don't look away. Cue the music.
Drop that too? Yeah, just drop it.
Stop it. Are you okay?
All right.
I'm okay. Don't do that.
96 S7. Hey, drop it! Drop the nut! Drop the nut! Drop it! Hey, just stop and talk to us! I don't want to hurt you. Drop it! Drop the nut! Drop the nut! Drop the nut! Drop the nut!
The thief tried to start the car and escape, but the employees moved even faster than the vehicle's acceleration. It's hard to outrun karma when it shows up as 10 angry men defending their workplace.
Yes! Get out!
Just a week after getting fired, this guy tried a bold move by promoting himself to co-owner of the store to justify trespassing.
This one, right?
Correct.
That's right here.
Correct. But this is continuing. This is where this is.
But he's also someone who's probably like any other customer side where you don't have to worry about him starting to go.
Hey, put your hands behind your back.
No.
Put your hands behind your back.
That illusion of power didn't last long when the self-proclaimed owner chose to raise a taser instead of leaving peacefully, ending with a rough landing right in the middle of traffic. Maybe now he can enjoy being the owner of his own jail
Go
cell.
pick up the stage. We both shot our taser. Try to get him before he went in the traffic.
You're in the middle of the road!
Breaking the law and trying to shout his way out of it, this driver turned himself into a public joke. Anger doesn't prove strength, it only shows a serious lack of traffic culture, and that will definitely come at a cost. Holding a weapon-like object and constantly reaching into his pockets despite orders was a huge mistake in public.
Put your hands up. Put your hands up.
Put your hands up. What is it?
Put your hands
What
up.
is it?
Hey,
Don't reach for it.
Even if it was just a replica, the serious misunderstanding forced the officers to react to keep everyone safe.
Get on the ground.
hey, stop reaching in your pocket. No, keep your hands on your head.
This is left pocket, right?
As a result, the suspect was taken down, leaving a painful lesson about following safety rules when facing the law.
Leave your hands on your head. Hey, let's get fire sage.
Sir, I've been approached by officers.
Guys, no.
Shut the f*** up.
It started as a simple disturbance, threatening the neighbors, but Antonio chose the fastest way to destroy himself.
They don't know who my parent. You didn't tell them the half of it, did you? Go ahead, tell them. Tell them what my last name is. Tell them.
What do you know?
Because it's my tax dollars that pays. So you're a servant to me. Boy, you are nothing but a public servant. Whatever your name is, no. My tax dollars are gonna go hard at work, and you're gonna protect it for you Caucasians, white pigs. How about I put my hands on my back?
I would like to start.
Shut the f up. Santa. Okay, listen.
Let's go.
Wait, I need to do this on camera. Guess what? Uncle Tony worth 90 million. And you got these handcuffing me right now? Do y'all see this? Do y'all know who my dad is? Google and...
From wild claims about winning a $90 million lottery, he jumped straight into attacking police and yelling, "Do you know who my dad is?" No powerful father showed up, only a 15-year prison sentence waiting for him.
It's too tight. Daddy, it's too tight.
Let's go in the Groceries Police Department. Need your driver's license, please.
Thank you, sir. There's not stopping today. It's prior to the red light back there. Citation for your speed for 52 and the 35.
Pay attention. You gotta know, pay attention. But
Hey, shut your mouth.
I don't.
Get in your car and go home.
No. No.
It's hard to understand how anyone thinks yelling and blocking a patrol car will help them get out of a speeding ticket.
No.
You play games?
No. I'll go home. I'll go home. No, I don't tell anything to you.
Now, the Lexus driver is paying a high price for his lack of control with a criminal record that's anything but pretty.
Put your hands behind your back.
Little Falls police got a report about a shoplifting incident at a convenience store and quickly tracked down the suspect just a few blocks away.
Get this arm. You guys gotta back up.
Making the arrest turn into a major headache because the guy was completely out of control, making ridiculous demands and stalling the officers at every turn.
I didn't thief. Okay, all right. Stop. Listen, stop.
The whole ordeal ended with a stack of heavy criminal charges, proving once again that whenever you challenge the law eventually wins.
I have a female officer. See if we can get him here.
I'm gonna go to quick check and I'm gonna.
I did, but in the door I lost the female. She has a hopper box on her.
Trying to use her experience to outsmart the supermarket's cameras, this grandma got hit with an embarrassing ending right in front of her grandkids.
You're most likely concealing items right now that were shoplifting?
No, I'm not. You are? No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Every excuse about items wandering into her bag sounded ridiculous next to the evidence.
Anything you say can't be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to the presence of an attorney to assist you prior to questioning. I'm not going to say please you.
The price for this mistake isn't just legal trouble. It's the shame of being a bad example for her grandchildren.
You haven't met the granddaughter. She has a disability.
Turning a McDonald's parking lot into his stage, this man thought pretending to be asleep behind the windshield would help him dodge a speeding ticket.
Hey, your window's going to be broke.
Yeah. But the police were not an audience, and they shut down the clumsy act with firm action.
Let me see your hands now.
Get out.
Hands now. Hands now.
Get out.
Oh, my hands are up. Whoa, dude. Whoa, Taser. Come on, let's relax, guys. Get on your stomach. On your stomach. On your stomach.
A lesson to remember. Don't use childish tricks to test the law because the price is always your own freedom.
I think so. It's hard to...
She's in the car.
Caught red-handed trying to sneak out of TJ Maxx with a bunch of unpaid items, Donicia Johnson immediately scrambled to her car to make a break for it. However, that escape attempt ended in nothing but late-night tears of regret as officers quickly pinned her down. Trying to dodge one small mistake only leads you straight into a much bigger one, where the price isn't just your freedom, it's a permanent criminal record that you can't ever erase.
I'm sorry. Damn it. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Y'all, please. 911 house, are you in need of police, fire, or EMS?
Yes, a man just robbed me and my daughter. You didn't quite have to stole my car. It's a 2014 Porsche Cayenne. And this must be somebody's keys that he stole.
Yeah, well, we got it. Do it now. I'm blocking in. Do it now.
Hands up!
Oh, there's nothing, brother.
Hands up! Let me see your hands! Blue!
Fire.
Challenging the police and getting yourself into trouble after drinking too much alcohol is never a good idea.
Alright, so talk to my partner, that's it. Alright, kick shit out of here. I'm gonna come in.
From throwing chairs to trying to use a weapon, this man shut every door to negotiation himself.
Go and grab the Glock 17 right now.
Okay, that's a trick. There you go.
Exactly.
A tough professional intervention officially shut down his aggression, forcing the suspect to leave the scene in an ambulance instead of walking out.
By the men's room over there. Let's go that way.
Put the gun down! Get out of the way! Everybody out of the store! Put your hands on your head! Right now! Turn around! Get down on your knees! Get down!
Okay. Oh, okay, I will. Yes, ma'am.
Don't!
Okay, ma'am.
Roll over.
Ma'am. Okay, all right.
Handcuffs couldn't stop Brenda Thomas' frenzy, but a taser did.
Did you open your car?
We're going together, you guys.
Luckily, the detective only had minor injuries, but she's definitely going to spend most of her life in prison thinking about that shot. The security guard didn't even break a sweat taking him down. Stay humble, because a sober guard always beats a drunk fighter. Trying to act like a street player, this guy chose the wrong person to challenge.
Now! Let me see your hands! Verse at 5-1, we got 2 leg girl, one's running with the AR-15.
After a high-speed chase, the suspect took things to the extreme by using a heavy weapon against Officer Lucy Lopez.
Mercer 27, I'm here.
The officer's quick and decisive action prevented a much worse scenario, proving the bravery of those who keep our community safe. A truck can be washed clean in 10 minutes, but a viral video of you acting like a child with trash bags will last a lifetime. Bro went from main character to blind daredevil knight the second someone stepped out of the car. Remember, you never know who's behind the wheel. Instead of acting civilized, this entire family chose to provoke a group of passersby with an ugly attitude. The daughter's defiant act of splashing water led to a truly embarrassing ending and a wave of harsh criticism from the public. In any situation, blindly resisting authority is always a bad move.
Y'all 5 seconds before I go back inside.
After causing chaos at a relative's home over $100, Alicia kept screaming and obstructing police, despite her long criminal record.
That's her jacket, that's what she be wearing.
Even after receiving proper medical care, her uncooperative attitude still led to unnecessary clashes at the holding facility.
Hey, whoa! Put your hands behind your back.
In the end, a series of impulsive actions earned her a harsh sentence for disrespecting the law.
Well, that's because you're kicking the resistor. Okay.
Never be foolish enough to push law enforcement to their limit. When that car door swings open, the mercy stops right there.
What's going on? Put it down. Put it down.
It's true, when you're drunk, you'll try anything, even theft and threats.
Hey, I'm already down.
Just like that.
Pick up another charge for concealing?
0.518% isn't just the blood alcohol level anymore. It's the speed you're heading straight toward death.
Stop!
No,
please,
let's go.
Please!
Those handcuffs aren't a punishment right now. They're literally his lifeline.
Dude! You mother...
Trying to climb out of a patrol car window is just pointless. He made it outside for a moment, but all he got was an extra escape charge added to his record.
Give me my $12 back because I don't want the pizza. It's already paid for, it's already made. I don't want it. What you gotta pay? You gotta pay $1. Is y'all gonna give me my $12?
I'm not giving you anything.
Could they give me my $12?
So do you want your pizza?
I don't want the pizza.
You can file a civil suit against them for $12.
$12?
I'm saying.
I'm not from down here. I don't know what's going on. You need to give me my $12.
I'm not giving you anything. You need to leave or you'll be under arrest for trespass.
You're now being trespassed. Get out.
I swear to God, let's just say I tell it. Yo, like you're
Push me. Don't push me.
You're under arrest.
Don't push me.
Under arrest. You want to go to the ground?
Go to jail, bro.
Right now. Get my stuff. Get my stuff. Get my stuff.
Then y'all just want to slam me on the ground? Like, bro, this
Yes, you hit me in the face.
because you got my sister, bro.
Now you're going to jail. To your side.
I'm getting them. I ain't resisting anything. You might think you're supposed to touch me.
With alcohol clouding his judgment, Martiniano Jimenez turned a drunken night into a home invasion, ending in a face-off with police right in the middle of the street. After multiple failed attempts to de-escalate the situation, officers were forced to use a jolt of electricity when he suddenly closed to the dangerous distance, holding a rock in his hand. That one wrong move led Jimenez to an irreversible ending in Kern County Jail, facing a list of charges: assault, attempted break-in, property damage, and public intoxication.
Right, come on.
OMG, that low-life tip jar thief was caught immediately by the customers, proving that the community is always ready to take down anyone who bullies workers.
From the white pen over there. What you do? Yes, sir. He's drunk. He's throwing off. He gets liquor on him. Apparently, he has weed in his pockets. I haven't checked him yet. Do you have any ID on you, buddy?
Somebody stole my ID.
Somebody stole your ID? What's your name?
Over there.
Well, put that drink down for me. Put that drink down. All right. Go ahead.
The officers really didn't want to see you like this, buddy.
You know you're not supposed to be on this campus. Get all your stuff out of your pockets. You got anything on you that's gonna poke me, stick me, or anything like that?
Was a few minutes of acting out of FSU worth 2 years and 10 months in prison?
What you gonna do now?
You got it? Yep.
In the end, Tommy Lee Evans chose his ego over his brain, and now is paying the price behind bars. This kid thought he was the king of spring break, but his 22-year-old ID was still too green to get past security. Instead of finding somewhere else to go, he let his ego take the lead.
No problem. I got paper. Can I ask when I'm under arrest for?
The price for an impulsive outburst like this can be 12 months in jail. Plenty of time to grow up.
What's done is done. Don't give the guy bringing you to jail.
The slowest chase in history kicked off when old Bill steered his lawnmower through his yard, weaving around and ignoring every attempt by police to stop him with tasers.
You don't see that every day.
He's crazy.
Though his family explained that he suffers from memory loss, he seemed to remember a previous $600 fine perfectly well, deciding to make a break for it just to protect his wallet.
Because he's old, he's senile, and he got a whole lot of dementia going on.
All right, Bill.
All right, now what the hell you got?
Turns out a taser is no match for an old man's dedication to saving money. But just a reminder, lawnmowers are for cutting grass, not cutting corners on traffic laws. Karma sees everything, and police always have a taser ready for people who act out. Live by the law, and you'll never end up on our channel like this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to see who the next main character will be. I love how she filmed her own distracted driving in full 4K just to prove she was the victim on the road. Just because of a small dispute in a supermarket parking lot, this pickup driver completely lost control. However, all uncivilized behavior has a price when the authorities track him down and take him to the station. A luxury SUV had a once-in-a-lifetime collision with a truck right in the city center after a poorly judged lane change from both sides. Fortunately, the damage was limited to the vehicle bodies, and both parties quickly reached a civil agreement to clear the scene. The truck driver thought that club made him invincible until the car decided to answer back with its rear bumper. Someone please tell him that anger control is usually way cheaper than replacing an entire front end. Instead of apologizing for a dangerous cutoff, the driver chose confrontation and quickly realized he'd picked the wrong opponent. Karma always finds creative ways to make the most arrogant people learn humility.
Especially since you were behind me, so now you want to go ahead?
Nobody's answering, so how is this my fault?
Once the vice chair of the town council, but one uncontrolled outburst cost this official her entire career, all because of a single video. Yelling and insulting residents right in a parking lot led to severe disciplinary action.
Get the in the I am not playing with you. Bro, I'm not playing with you.
This guy lost it after being rear-ended.
Oh no, these wildin'.
Smashing someone's car window for revenge is a great way to make sure you're the only one paying for repairs and expensive lawyers too. She signed someone else's car like she was signing for fans, and forgot that a sharp, full 4K bill was being sent straight to her home. Losing control over a small argument at a gas station, this man used a hard object to threaten an employee and challenge everyone around him. But the aggression quickly turned into a frantic escape the moment law enforcement showed up.
Yeah, I'll go down there. Go on.
A Frontier Airlines flight in Nashville was delayed after a passenger refused to cooperate, forcing hundreds of others to evacuate to make way for a security intervention.
Okay.
What started as a routine aviation violation quickly turned into a one-way ticket to jail when she made a serious threat, bringing in the FBI and triggering a full baggage sweep that lasted 2 hours.
All right, let's go. Just like that.
The price of that stubbornness wasn't just handcuffs, it was a criminal record labeled Threat to National Security, along with a massive bail waiting ahead.
Jordan, you need a hand down there? You good? You got a hobble? I've got one up in my bag.
Trying to use sheer arrogance to take over the road, this guy earned nothing but eye rolls from everyone around him. And of course, the grand prize for all that drama, a nice little court summons. Thinking he could use a baseball bat to act tough, the masked youth had to run for his life the second the owner showed his face. Truly an entertaining ending for such reckless behavior. A creative moment of traffic discipline, as helmets suddenly became musical instruments for the fun-loving guy's baton.
What are you doing?
I'm the one that called. He hit me in the head.
Acting aggressively toward an elderly person while being out of control, this man was met with immediate force to bring him back to reality.
So stupid, I'm about to touch you in one place and you're gonna die.
No, right now you're gonna get it again. Get on the ground right now or you're gonna get it again. Get on the ground right now. Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
Hey bro, I feel like I'm on fire.
The regret that followed was necessary, but it could not erase the trouble and harm caused to the community.
I asked you nicely, bro. You don't believe me?
A real lesson here. Never let your loss of control become a danger to others.
There you go. Now turn a little bit so you can clean your face.
I got your back, for real.
The devil's here.
Now with the vehicle. Hey, ma'am. It's Officer Dong. Officer Finn. Okay, we just got a couple calls about you, like banging on people's car doors.
My car, I never got out my car. Nobody's doing anything wrong. So.
Okay. So again, we got called here, so
That's
we're making
okay.
sure
That's
we
okay.
can
You need my ID or something?
Yeah.
You need my ID here.
Okay. Where do you live?
I do not live here.
Where do you live?
Where I live is none of your, it's none of your business.
Is this what you got?
Ma'am.
Ma'am, do you have a driver's license?
But you're not here for
Ma'am.
that. Are you crazy? Call your son. No! For what?
Smashing windows like a tough guy, then panicking once arrested.
Oh my God.
No matter how good the acting is, you aren't escaping criminal charges for disturbing the peace, girl.
Yo, you're off of me.
Just leave.
Please.
Sit against the wheel. Scoop back.
This suspect really thought hiding in the attic would help him escape a car theft charge and a long criminal record. One bad fall later, he was right back where he's very familiar with, jail.
Okay, you gotta come on out. No, you gotta, this isn't your house, you need to come on out.
So this is your mom's house, not yours, right?
As a former correctional officer, Jameson should have known the law better than anyone, but instead, he chose to break into his own mother's house and attack the police.
Taser! 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 Stay right there! Don't now! No! Taser! Put your hands behind your back now! Turn around, behind your back. Turn around. Don't do it, man.
Being an insider did not help him escape the consequences. It only led straight to a 2-month jail sentence. It's a tough lesson.
You don't have an option.
Past experience is never a license to stand above the law.
Jamin, come on.
Blocking an ICE vehicle is the fastest way to score an express ticket to a local jail. Remember, staying respectful and following orders is how you keep things from turning into a painful lesson. Cops mess up sometimes too. Despite a little technical glitch, the suspect still couldn't escape the perimeter. Come on, Jonathan. Quit using the taking my mom to the hospital excuse to play the devoted son.
That's it.
Just wait.
One second he's complaining about shaking from a panic attack, and the next he's made a miraculous recovery, flooring it like he's in an action movie.
Gray bottoms. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
There you go. I got him. Get your rest. It's all good.
That reckless attitude paid the price right away.
You just come in here just to say something dumb, and I don't want to talk to you right now.
First of all, listen to me.
A normal class at Santa Fe was suddenly interrupted when a female student insisted on turning the lecture hall into a place to deal with her personal psychological issues.
You can get my name through him. I'm not talking to you though. So, like I was telling him, don't put your hands on me. I'm not putting my hands on you.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, because I was taking there with you. You don't know me. We can take it there. We can take it there. You because you have that badge on your chest. You feel like it's right.
You are not in charge here.
No, so you mean to tell me just no, me too is not you. Okay.
Let's just move. No, stop.
When words were no longer enough and her behavior started to become threatening, officers were forced to switch from dialogue to use a dose of electricity.
Get down on the ground. Get down.
A lecture hall is meant to expand the mind, but for her, it became the starting point of a criminal record, a costly price for stubbornness in the wrong place. People probably know this already, or forgot, but those delicate hands are meant to hold a purse, not wrestle with a steering wheel. Not cooperating only makes your car's situation worse, bro. Cars that park in the wrong spot get a free wash. But I don't think this free service is gonna be clean at all. Blocking a rich person's path? Yeah, they'll solve it in a way that costs more than your whole car. This is beyond the small stuff. Those swings are Olympic level accurate. This is the kind of clip that's gonna show up in every parking safety meeting for the next 10 years.
She's going all crazy. She's hitting every car.
That reaction says she definitely had a few drinks at the bar. One tiny mistake and suddenly the whole street has to review parallel parking. I honestly don't know how anyone could believe leaving their sedan in the middle of the street is a good call. Some driver blocked the way and left. Good thing the white car driver helped him respawn in a more reasonable spot. Ain't no way she needed that many tries. When you in the parking spot just aren't meant to be. We've all had that kind of day, right? Oh! Perfect! Anyone who drives knows that move is not easy at all. Honestly, this really is the most reasonable way to handle situations like this.
Because you don't have a date of birth in there, so what's your date of birth for?
It all started with the car running a red light with no license plate, but it was the driver's refusal to cooperate that really set off a chain of irreversible events.
That's okay. Just sit in here, say you're gonna get yourself in trouble. That's all that is.
How old are you guys?
But they're being aggressive. Like, they're being aggressive.
We don't have a physical copy.
Okay.
You might be under arrest.
You're driving without a license.
Call your supervisor.
You're going to be removed from the car if you don't open the door.
If you don't step out of the car, we're gonna break the window and we're gonna remove you from the vehicle. You're gonna be arrested for felony.
Instead of following the officer's order to step out of the vehicle, she chose to hit the gas and flee at over 60 miles per hour, leading to a devastating crash.
Slowing for red lights. For McNichols northbound.
That blind stubbornness ended in a 15-year prison sentence, a heavy price for putting ego above the law and human life.
Come on, you got this. Sit right here. You sit down. Sit down.
When the attempt to create the perfect Instagram flex shot fails. Thankfully, both the car and the person are okay. Bro, the snowplow isn't petty, it's efficient. Oh, wow. 1, 2, 3. 3, huh?
Газу. Больше, больше. Нет, там далеко. О, отлично.
I think she needs a very detailed parking guidebook. Ma'am, that outburst is gonna cost you a good amount. Totally not worth it.
What's going on?
She stopped me.
Oh gosh, if these two brothers hadn't turned their neighborhood into a drama show at 2 in the morning, it wouldn't have ended in this mess.
Yeah, I did it. I just snapped your phone out your head. I just snapped your phone out your head.
Stand back over there.
I know you ain't. What's up?
Huh?
What's up? So what?
Instead of cooperating, they chose to challenge and even get physical with the officers, only to be taken down right there in front of their mom and neighbors.
Come here.
Better on the law enforcement officer now.
Who did I hit though?
The officer that was on there. Yes, ma'am.
Another criminal record born from pure immaturity. Truly a hopeless cast. Just for a simple lane violation, this driver decided to declare war on the police with a massive ego and some incredibly nasty language.
Hey, bro. We ain't got.
Gentleman that's here. Ma'am, can you please step away from the car? Stay on the other side of the tree.
Things went too far when his passenger jumped into the fight, forcing officers to arrest both of them for obstruction. Never mistake freedom of speech for an attack on the law, because the price you'll pay is your own freedom.
Stop pulling away. Just walk right over this way.
So here's the thing, right?
Instead of using authority to silence the noise, Officer Bowen used sincerity to win people over. Running away from court barefoot is a hopeless plan. It's more like a comedy movie than real life. Trying to slip past security only made things worse and just made the sentence longer.
I do not want to be here right now, okay?
I have 3
So you can
notarized
leave.
power of attorneys. It doesn't matter.
Okay, you can leave. Go sit in the car while I talk to him.
I said no.
Huh? Why would he treat the woman he shared his life with so badly?
I know the law.
You're interfering with my
No,
investigation.
you're interfering with my wife. That's good.
This is where we're going. I'm going to detain you and put you in my car so I can talk to you. Did he hit you?
No, he did not hit me. I just want to be alone right now. He was
Why we're
walking.
here. That's why we're here.
No, you're interfering with what's going on with her entire... That's it.
254 Spritzville, send me some additional.
Stop it!
Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down!
What are you saying?
Look at him handing the weapon to his wife and jumping in the car to bail. Like, that's actually going to work.
The knife! Drop it! Stop! Hey! Stop!
But you can only run for a few days before you're in cuffs.
Yep, you're gonna be detained for now, buddy, because we're gonna figure out what's going on.
It's time to face some serious charges, buddy, including first-degree assault, fleeing, and resisting an officer. After a series of collisions on the street, a driver in Miami faced strong backlash from the public before authorities arrived. Tensions escalated and property was damaged, but the luckiest part was that no one was injured in the incident. Pretty impressive how they fought like a scene from Rocky and walked away after 30 seconds. Next time, maybe exchange insurance details instead of punches. Impatience and a lack of alertness led this container truck driver to make a serious mistake, trying to squeeze through a narrow gap during a traffic jam. Thankfully, it ended with property damage only, and no one needed medical assistance. Instead of calmly dealing with the collision, hotheads and algae chose to attack each other's vehicles to vent their anger. The rage ended with both being documented by police and handed over to judicial authorities. Despite warnings from bystanders, this woman, clearly not fully sober, turned a parking lot into a chain collision scene. Luckily, she only suffered minor injuries from the crashes she caused herself, but this was without a doubt the most expensive lesson of her life. A traffic dispute in New Jersey turned into a chaotic chase and property damage right in the middle of the street. Instead of handling things like adults, their tempers only led to a trashed car and some serious roasting from the internet.
What happened?
He really knows how to annoy the police. Oh my gosh, his hands move faster than his brain. Next time, don't try to play the victim. A DUI and assault combo is enough to get you a heavy indictment instead of any sympathy. Don't be foolish and challenge the law with aggression. This is a real-life example of why.
Serious heart attack? I'm not going to sit here and argue with you.
Deciding to go big with an inappropriate inflatable outfit in a residential area. The elderly woman thought it was protected under freedom of speech.
Would explain to my children what you're supposed to be. I want you to tell me why.
Reality check, the Constitution doesn't protect dressing indecently in front of children.
Now, sir, I told her to take it off.
Trying to behave.
Got it? Yep.
15 seconds as he was walking away.
Her stubbornness earned her a disorderly conduct citation. Officers even had to break a sweat wrestling that bulky costume off before escorting the model to the car. With parking like that, your parking fee should be half off.
Можно поснимать?
Снимай, как хочешь. Потом еще ее поснимать можно, когда придет забирать.
Oh my gosh, the car's not moving anymore, but hey, its durability is next level.
Сейчас колеса лопнут, наверное.
That punishment is basically useless now. She's enjoying it like she's at a resort. The lady just dropped a double trouble like it's nothing. A woman's method for removing obstacles while driving. Real-life heroes don't wear capes. They're the drivers who personally deliver karma to anyone driving under the influence. A simple sorry would do way more for your reputation than a 4K video of you losing your mind in public. Oh my gosh. This isn't bad parking anymore, it's just stupid parking. The repair bill might end up as long as that whole line of cars. When a reminder isn't strong enough, the rope will do the talking for you.
Don't park in wrong place, fellow. New parka.
As you can see, even if you're a cop, you still can't just park wherever you want. The battle for a parking spot looks even crazier than an action movie. Whose side are you on? The one who waits or the one who cuts to the line? Spend a ton of money on a car, but money for basic awareness? Nope. Yes, the fastest, cheapest fix for stupid parking. Zero effort, maximum satisfaction. After harassing staff and trying to steal money, the only thing he successfully ordered was a visit from the police. Anger is temporary, but the shame of being the Florida fast food villain lives forever on the internet. The driver decided to escalate things by pulling out a hammer, only to be neutralized within seconds by the very person he was threatening. Karma hits fast when you choose a weapon over common sense. Stay safe and grow up.
Yo,
brother. Oh my.
Uh-oh. Too unlucky. That's the whole story right there. Oh my gosh, I thought it ended when the car got towed somewhere else, but nope. Do you think this is well deserved for a car that's been sitting there for months? One bad parking case ends up being an airborne lesson for the entire block. Oops, looks like even the train can't cool off her anger at that badly parked car.
These guys, why do people say that? Mind your own business.
That's hysterical. Oi.
Yeah, the neighbor's Christmas decorations are still intact, but his place isn't. The Christmas tree isn't Karen's, and neither is Christmas.
Okay, can you get away from my tree? What are you doing?
Santa didn't say a word and still won. The ride was festive and smooth until it wasn't.
Driver has just jumped out his bus, right? Got himself in the fucking public toilets and they've locked him in.
He stepped off the bus for a minute, ended up staying a lot longer than that.
We're gonna get the lock on this one all. Class. Hey, God.
Holiday prep comes with risks. Be careful! Climbing on a trash can to decorate for Christmas? Never a smart move. Is he good? Santa didn't train for this. Ooh, she stopped skiing in her own unique way. Pretty sure everyone's felt this at least once in their life. Ah, yeah, the penguin did nothing and still won. Christmas hasn't arrived, but winter already gave out a free spin. And this is why you're always told to look right one more time before crossing. This is why slowing down in fog isn't a choice. It's survival mode. Glad everyone is okay. Turns out getting an artsy photo isn't that easy. Maybe slow down next time, buddy? These porch pirates thought they hit the jackpot with a car full of electronics, only to find out the camera already sent an invitation to the police station straight to their hands. Upgrade your security today, before your front porch turns into an accidental set for a viral crime video. She must think she's some master magician with 35 items hidden on her. Too bad for her next trick. She'll be teleporting straight to jail. Caught red-handed, the thief covered himself with a blanket and pretended to be a chair. Unfortunately, the homeowner's flashlight exposed this ridiculous disguise instantly.
Fica em pé e coloca a mão para trás. Fica em pé e coloca a mão para trás. Coloca a mão para trás. De boa. De boa. Tá de boa, tranquilo. Tranquilo, tranquilo.
Thought he was auditioning for Dancing with the Stars Street Edition? Too bad the police judges weren't fans of the performance. 10 points for confidence, but 0 points for freedom. He was all excited to unbox his loot, only to find a fresh package of dog poop instead. Karma isn't just fast sometimes, it's also incredibly stinky.
Huh?
After all that effort prying open a sealed window, he had no idea the garage right next to it was wide open. Sometimes a low IQ is a criminal's worst enemy, not the cops. She struggled to haul all the stolen food like she was grocery shopping until the homeowner showed up.
This wasn't my stuff. I live here. This is my house.
My mom lives here.
I want to call the police on you.
Don't bite off more than you can carry if you can't handle the weight of public shaming, because the price of your reputation is always higher than whatever you're stealing.
Now! I got you recorded, dude! You're on tip! Now! I already got you!
He might have escaped the scene, but there was no escaping becoming the neighborhood's newest brand ambassador. On the local Crime Alert News. Richard Sherman, from a football hero to someone vandalizing his father-in-law's house.
Come through! Come through! Move the door!
A costly reminder fame and money can't cover up anger, and when it spins out of control. Thanks for sticking with Fast Instant Karma. The streets would be a lot calmer with fewer hotheads around. Stand with calm minds and common sense by hitting like and subscribe. See you soon.